Hey everybody, I am Misty Buck, president of Miss Ig Digital Marketing, and we are here for another Marketing Monday. So this guest of mine has been a long time in the making on this show. We've had some scheduling changes that have happened, but I'm so excited. A lot of you out there probably already know this man. You might have even seen his name on US1 on one of the buildings.
Now I'm blushing, Misty.
This is Brett Trembly. We're here today to talk about not his law firm, which is an incredible practice as well, but today we're going to talk about his other business, Get Staffed Up, which is a virtual staffing agency. Is that the right way to describe
Sure,
it?
yeah, that'll work.
Okay, we'll describe it as that. He is the co-founder of that as well. So we're going to talk about virtual staffing today, that business, and how he is growing that business as well, and whatever else we're going to see what comes up. So with that, let me welcome my good friend and one of my favorite professionals, Brett Trembly.
Thank you, Misty. Quite an intro. I'm excited to be here. It is a long time in the making, but the setup here is really neat, and what you guys have done. I've watched a bunch of your shows, so thanks for having me. Let's chat.
Yeah, you're welcome. All credit to community newspapers. I just kind of show up every week, and
yeah, no, they
they do the hard part.
If you haven't seen inside the studio, this is really an exquisite setup here with a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah,
they've done a great job.
It is super cool. They've perfected it over the years. That is for sure. So, all right. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Let's start with Get Staffed Up. So tell us a little bit about what Get Staffed Up is, and then maybe how you started it.
Sure. So Get Staffed Up is an offshore virtual staffing company, meaning we find people in primarily Latin America and South Africa, and we recruit them, we vet them, we test them, we make sure that they're gonna, hopefully be really good team members for our clients. And then what we do is our niche here in the US is lawyers. So we primarily, that's okay, we're doing selfie time here too.
We're doing lots of stuff here.
We're marketing, right?
We're marketing.
So we believe that niches bring riches. So we're primarily focused on lawyers and law firms. That's who we market to. Myself and my co-founder, both lawyers. And so our message is you can find really great full-time people. Just look beyond, our own borders and fill those positions at your business that you're not usually filling, that you just leave open, and that you need personal assistants, executive assistants, legal secretaries, receptionists, intake coordinators, even something called client happiness, to really go above and beyond and take care of your clients, and marketing assistants, not marketing directors and marketing coordinators. So a lot of the entry level staff positions. And the idea here, Misty, is that it's really hard right now, as we were just talking, to hire in the US for entry level positions,
right?
There's just so much going on with the economy right now that we can dive into and talk about all the different reasons and the solutions.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has been a challenge. So myself as a business owner, we're a small staff team of 5. 2 of our employees are from Get Staffed Up, and I have to say that they're phenomenal. And the reason, there's several reasons that we pivoted in that direction to work some with offshore, but I will say that they are incredibly talented and hardworking women that we've discovered we don't need to be in a traditional office setting in order to achieve our goals as a business. And as we've grown as a business, they've been instrumental in that.
Yeah, and that's really cool to hear. So we didn't get into the business thinking we're gonna just meet so many amazing people in other countries and change their lives.
Right.
But that's what has happened.
Right.
And it is the most fulfilling part of what we do, which is, we kind of have a running joke, because we have almost 140 of our own internal full-time employees, plus almost 800 of, our people, which we call staffers, placed with our clients. Yeah. So the growth has been really insane. But, it's like we're a house and a marriage and a baby factory,
right?
Because for the first time, I mean, you're talking about maybe not quite third world countries, but countries where there's not always ample opportunity to have full-time meaningful employment. So once that happens, then life happens, right? You start to see people get married and have children and buy homes, and it's been such a fulfilling part of the business that that we really didn't. I mean, we expected it, right? But it wasn't the focus. And I think that sometimes people say, oh, but you're creating all these jobs for people in other countries. What about here in the US? And I would say we're not a job replacement company. This is not about firing your people here and adding people there. Most of the time, as you know, as a small business owner, it's hard when your overhead, right? Your people overhead keeps up with your revenue. And it's like, I'm constantly working just to pay other people, not myself.
Yes.
And that's hard, right? So what we're saying is fill the gaps with people who are educated, speak really good English, work very hard. They just happen to have been born in a different country. They also are looking for great opportunities to work with amazing business owners.
Right.
And so for a lot, it's just called economic arbitrage, right? They're going to make a great living for where they are, but for a lot less money for you, the business owner, you can have a little bit of that wiggle room to feel comfortable about growing your business. That's really hard when you're full-time domestic.
It is really, it is challenging. I will definitely say I have found those challenges, and I know many people out there, because other business owners, we've had this discussion where they're having challenges with that as well, right? And now I just saw this morning, Florida, I believe, I hope I get this right, is at one of our lowest unemployment rates right now. So we're doing pretty good here locally too. So that means that jobs are being filled. But if you're having an issue and you think this is something that could be done remotely, or I want to scale my business, these are really good opportunities to do that. And one of my favorite parts about working with you all, I didn't mean to turn this into a testimonial, but I'm going to say one more really good thing, and then we're going to let Brett give more tips. But I think one of the really awesome parts that for me as a business owner that has been really helpful is because hiring can be so challenging. With that great resignation, I mean, we felt that. So, and we had significant turnover. So with that happening and trying to find the right people for the right positions at the right time, there's definitely a challenge there. So one of the things that I love with working with Get Staffed Up and my own happiness coordinator is that if employee from you all decides that this is not the right place for them anymore, another opportunity has, recently had a client poached right off of LinkedIn. I mean, an employee poached right off of LinkedIn. Oh, so it happens. Yeah. But right away, the team sprang into action, and they're, right there to help me. They know what I'm looking for. So they're looking for that talent that they know that I want. And so I'm not myself spending hours on Indeed trying to vet people and do all these things. So I think it's amazing that that your team helps as well. So that's definitely another significant challenge that you all help business owners with.
Yeah, turnover crushes small businesses, right? If you've got 1,000 employees and 10 of them leave, that's just another Monday, right? If you have 12 employees and 5 leave, that is just so hard on your business. And then, the old, what if I train someone and then they leave, and the response is like, well, what if you don't and they stay? And it's like, okay, what if I just don't hire anyone so I don't have to deal with the headache?
Right.
And that's how so many of us deal with the employee.
Yeah, I'll just do it myself and not worry about it. How many of us have said that? I'm just going to do it myself. And that's not a realistic long-term solution.
And when are you doing it yourself? Weekends, nights,
right?
It affects your family time and everything else. And just not to mention the fact that so many of the things we do day to day are things we shouldn't be doing, things we should be delegating. The old saying, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant, and it is 100% true. So if you're a business owner, you have to. It's just, just the hiring in itself is like you can get an MBA on hiring
it's
and
dealing.
It's right. It's not really taught. We talk about numbers and strategies and how to bake a better pie, but building the right team and the right culture is not. There's not enough time spent on it, because it is so hard to do yourself. And when you're like, oh, I have all these other things to do, and someone could come in and provide you with really amazing people, it's a huge benefit. So
yeah, monumental. Yeah. It really is. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about, we talked about some of the benefits of working with you all, but let's also talk about some of the ways that you all are growing that brand, because it's becoming more in demand. So this is a show about marketing. So let's just chat Wow, that camera's really close to my face today. I just realized.
Yeah.
It's like really all up in there. Um, Thank
That's a
you.
cue to adjust, right?
Yeah,
there,
that's
so
a little. I looked at it and I was
good
like,
response.
"Whoa!" So, anyways, this is what happens live on the air. We are just gonna be real here. So, anyway, so what was I gonna ask you about? Oh yeah, so let's talk about how you grow your brand. So, you guys have like an affiliate or a referral program. I think a lot of it's happened through word of mouth as people have discovered how amazing your services are. So, how have you guys been able to? And by the way, he has this huge, amazing law firm as well. His co-founder is doing other things as well. So you guys have your plate full. So how do you grow this business?
Okay, so just to give a little bit of background, we just hit number 67 on the Inc. 5000. Right,
it's incredible.
So we're top Inc. 100.
Okay, say that again, because I don't know if you guys heard that. Say that again.
Yes, out of the fastest growing businesses in the entire United States, we're number 67.
Number 67. Okay,
right here, based in South Florida. So we're very proud of that. But I wish I could say it's because we're so good at marketing. Like we know something that nobody else knows, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
They say 50% of marketing works if I only knew which 50%. In terms of hiring a staffing company or like, oh, I heard about these guys. That's what gets you interested, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go on Facebook and by the way, suddenly I am flooded now with companies doing what we're doing, right? Because
on your Facebook and social media,
right? Because they've seen our success and
they want to duplicate it.
Yeah, and so like ads don't necessarily work that well, right? You've got to get people interested. So one of the things that I know you're really good at and you can help people with is building a Facebook community.
Right.
You give away info, you invite people into your Facebook group or community, and then you cultivate that group. You give value, you give free resources, you answer questions, you live sessions. And we've been pretty good with that, but I've seen some other people, who are really good at that. Another thing you already mentioned is our referral program. So, we want to, incentivize our clients because people aren't going to recommend a service or a company or a person that they don't have a good experience with.
Correct.
Right. Even if there's motivation or you're saying thank you, because when you send us somebody, we're giving you a referral fee, for example. Right.
Right.
I'm going to be like, I'm going to put my best friend through hell because I hate this company, but you know what? I really want that referral.
Yeah,
It still doesn't work that way. Right.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, there's a reciprocity factor with referrals, because if you're always sending somebody a referral and that's never being reciprocated, eventually you send your referrals elsewhere. Somebody who appreciates them. That you can read that. Bob Berg talks about that. A lot of networking gurus talk about that. So we're not in position. We're a national company, clients all over, to the more homegrown B&I feel where you're working really hard to reciprocate those referrals. So we came up with a referral program, right? And it has different levels and different incentives, and that has worked very well for us. And also centers of influence. I'd say like the third thing in terms of marketing that we focus on is people who are in position to send us clients, right? So a lot of legal law firm coaches, people who are doing different types of they have clients who need people, right? And so I would just say, don't neglect the, if you're a restaurant, who knows a lot of people that can send you, business. If you're, in a trades, industry, who are the people? And sometimes it's not that clear. You got to really think about it. Who can send you, a decent amount of referrals, and cultivate that relationship so that those people can hopefully help your business grow and vice versa.
Right. And these are tips I'm sure you have picked up along the way in your years. So when I first met you, I think it was over at the Pinecrest Business Association, I believe. And you were just a lawyer, right? You were just Brett the business lawyer with this amazing slogan that everyone always remembers. And I won't spoil it. I'll let you say it if you want. But and from there you've grown all these things. So how have you gone from, and maybe this can help people with some of that mindset piece that we were talking about, which I think does feed into the growth of your business, marketing, it feeds into really everything, mindset. So how did you go from being and it's looking at yourself as an attorney to becoming an entrepreneur and really assuming that role as entrepreneur?
Sure. Yeah. So the tagline, which really played well in a crowd, right?
It
was
did really well.
We protect honest business owners from getting legally screwed.
So good.
And I always would get a few chuckles out of that. It's look, as a lawyer, what we do can often be very boring, right? Very mundane. So it's hard to like get people excited. And frankly, it's not that sexy. It's something you need to do to protect your business, but it doesn't mean that we're going to just make it, roller coasters of fun. So, we work hard as a law firm to really ingrain ourselves within the South Florida community and protect business owners as much as we can. What I started noticing, though, is the time that I spent on being a lawyer, right? If like the time you spend managing your clients' social media accounts, for example, every second or every minute that you spend doing that, you're taking away from what's the bigger picture. I have phone calls to answer. I have people to meet. I have a podcast to jump on. I want to spread my message. And the analogy that I use often is a restaurant. You can have a really big restaurant, or you can have the guy in the hot dog stand who's doing everything. He pulls the cart there, with his truck, unhitches. He's doing the hot dogs. And by the way, could be some amazing hot dogs, right? For those of us, but he can only have one hot dog stand. Right. And when he's not there or on vacation, he's not making money. Nothing's happening. And that's the way a lot of us end up running. And by the way, when I say us, I ran the Trembly law firm for 2.5 years, just totally on my own. I've been right down the road here in the South Miami, Pinecrest area for almost 11 years. And I tried to do everything myself. So I learned these lessons the hard way. Right. And as soon as I started hiring, I made my first hire, and I just there was a law student at the time, right? So I made her a law clerk, and I gave her all of the things that I was doing, which were very secretarial. And suddenly I doubled revenue. Wow. And it's like, if you can think about going, let's say you go to a bigger restaurant, but you have somebody like me, like a lot of us, who's trying to do everything themselves. They're the cook, the waiter, the line chef, the host, the sommelier. That would be the worst dining experience. Awful how do food, you everything, right? Like, how do you serve that client? Exactly. But yet so many of us think, well, I just have a laptop, I can run my business. Yes, there are businesses which take a lot less overhead to start. That's great. But from day one, if you're doing all the little things yourself, you are preventing not only yourself from growing, but your clients from having a better experience from you. Right. Yeah, because you can only do so much. Yeah. You can only do so much. So yeah, I mean, and I think that's something that I always think of, what do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I think a lot of times as business owners, we're like, I'm going to put a Band-Aid on this and I'm going to try and fix that, like leaking hole, so to speak. Yeah. And you're just sort of, but in the end of the day, when you look at the bigger picture, you're sort of just doing the same things over and over again, and you're relying on yourself instead of being able to collaborate, delegate, and use the strengths of other individuals in areas that maybe you're not as strong in. Yeah. And I'll give you a plug here, because we all know, right, the small business owner. And again, I know a lot of lawyers, so it's easy for me to just think in my head of these lawyers. Right. They're gonna get fired up about marketing. So they're gonna start posting on social media, right? And they go for a few weeks and there's a lot more activity. Right. And they start a digital newsletter. Right. But what happens when a little bit of that marketing starts working? Then they have to do the legal work. Right. So what's no longer happening? The marketing. Correct. Right. Yeah. So then you see someone and then you don't. And then you see them, and it's the inconsistent marketing is sometimes worse than no marketing at all, because you're creating the impression that this guy like really needs business because I just saw him post 3 times. Right. And so, you fill that gap. You can't do everything yourself. It doesn't mean, sometimes you hire a contractor, sometimes you bring people in-house. There's lots of different ways to get things done as a business, but you're serving that purpose and helping somebody be steady and consistent and have integrity in their social media marketing across channels. So you're talking to different audiences, but it looks the same, it feels the same. And when again, it just goes back to the mentality of I'm gonna I'm going to do that myself. I'm going to make time for it,
Mm-hmm.
because something is being neglected when you're putting time into anything.
Right. Right. Yeah. And thinking of what is my time worth, right? And
Yep.
really being okay with that. And I think for a lot of people too, I mean, sometimes it's hard to delegate because you're like, oh, what if it doesn't get done correctly? Or what if it's not the way I wanted to? And sometimes it's, you know what, let me let go and let this person give them, you know, let them do it and let's see what happens. Maybe it's not the exact way I would do it, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you build trust like that, your team appreciates it, but also you're able to build more trust in the fact that your business can work more without you.
Yeah. Right. And trust is a huge issue, right?
Yeah.
And it like, well, I can't let someone. Well, that means your business, your life really is going to look the same 10 years from now as it does today. So that's, I don't think what most people want.
Right.
But you can bring someone on it, and that's where the cost savings can really come in too, right? If you go offshore, you can bring someone in and then give them a little test, a little sample, right? Have them do a few test runs with whatever you're delegating, and then give them feedback. All right, well, now we're gonna, you know, this is just part of onboarding training. It's not about, like, there's a difference between delegation and abdication.
Mm-hmm.
Abdication is where you just you're done with it. You're not going to double check what you delegated.
Right.
You're just like, this is your responsibility now.
Right.
You're not going to have a great result if that's
right.
what you're doing. And if you say, I don't have time to train or hire, then you're not making time to be less busy.
Right.
Right. And so give somebody some feedback, some instructions, some tasks, feedback, another task, feedback, 3 more tasks, feedback.
Right.
And suddenly 5, 6, 7 weeks later, this person's really kicking butt for you in your business, and they're building that trust with you. Right. And then you rinse and repeat as you keep growing. Your job is on your message, on marketing, on getting more clients for your business.
Right.
And when you bring in clients, you got to do a good job for them. So you're building the team to help build your clients.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's definitely, it's almost like an art.
Yeah. Right.
You know, less than a science, I think.
It sounds so simple and common sense. Yeah, hire people, do more work, but so many of us in the small business world, we don't.
Right.
We don't go ahead and make the plunge, and it's just always about, I can't afford to do that.
Right.
And
right.
That's a frustrating feeling when you have all this energy and you want to go out there in the world and make a difference.
So that's a great point, actually. So I think a lot of people wrestle between, do I make a hire when I have the business and the income coming in, or do I make the hire now so that when the business comes in, we're ready to go? So like, how would you say you would approach that?
I'll give a caveat here. This is hard. It's hard to do because I've been there and I know it. But the reason that you don't have enough money in your account to sort of justify hiring someone is unfortunately because you haven't hired someone. Team members, employees, they make the business money. They don't cost the business money. Right.
So, I love that. That's a good one. Say that again. So they make the business money.
They make the business money. They don't cost the business money.
That's so good.
Some of the world's leading experts on delegation will argue, if you are a $35,000 or more, employee, you should have an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you're answering an email that someone else could have handled, right? You're taking a call that someone else on your team could have done. You're sending an email. You're getting in the way of creating better things for your clients and yourself. And when you make the hire before you have somebody, a client, you're betting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, I don't need to worry about paying this person for the next 12 months. I just need to worry about the next payroll, and I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen. So the time they save you, that's when you go out and you get a new client.
And you get more business. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I love that for so many reasons. But I love what you said about betting on yourself, because I think, number one, you're building that confidence within yourself and you're putting it out in the universe, right? You're putting that energy out there. Like, I'm going to take this action and trust that this is going to result in, you can't like hire somebody and then like go sit on your couch and binge watch Netflix all day and think like, okay, like my business is going to grow now. Not like that, but like you hire somebody, like you said, and you're active and you're out there and you're doing things. The other thing that I find is that when you hire somebody and you delegate more, we're talking a lot about freeing up time, but you're also freeing up a lot of mental space and energy, right? Because you're not
Yes.
thinking, oh God, I have to do this, this, this,
Mhm.
this, that, where you're like sort of like firing on all cylinders and bouncing all over the place. And that's super draining.
Yeah. No, it's incredibly draining. I actually love this topic. And we could talk about, this narrow little piece for a long time, but everybody has that big idea that's like waiting for
Mhm.
them to have more time, right? This magical more time or more money. Like if I had X, I want to do Y.
Mhm.
Every business owner I've ever spoken with has like something big that they want to get to.
Right.
But it sits there. It's writing a book, right? Doing something special, but it sits there for so long in our mental shelf because we fill up our time with things that we shouldn't. And I say shouldn't, but there's a delegation exercise that if you let's say you spend 3 days and you kind of like follow yourself almost
Mhm.
around and you write down everything you do. At the end of 3 days, take a highlighter and just highlight all of the stuff that you hate doing or that you're not good at. Or that if you're honest with yourself, because really being honest with ourselves is one of the hardest
Super hard
parts, because our subconscious is designed to protect us and
Right.
make us feel good, right?
Right.
And so just be really honest, and those are the things you should delegate. You'll have a nice little list of, if anything else you need an assistant, you got to have somebody who is protecting your time, you from your time. And if you hire that first assistant, I hope, and I've seen it time and time again, you will experience what I did, which is double your income the very next month. It doesn't have to happen the very next month, but the point is that person's going to make you so much money, because then your time is redirected onto things that are actually going to bring business into,
Right.
Like instead of cooking the hot dog and serving it to somebody,
Right.
you're out there with a sign getting people to go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
your
Well,
hot
you
dog
can't
stand.
work in your business and on your business at the same
No,
time.
you can't.
It's as simple as that.
Again,
Right.
and if you don't free up that mental headspace, then
Yeah.
you're only thinking about getting up in the morning and going through the motions again.
Right.
You're on the hamster wheel,
Right.
That's all you have time for, because if you don't, then you're not making money. So if you just shut down the business to think, then you're just constantly worried, right? The business can run without you so that you can think about how to make it better and better.
Yeah. No, and I think that's so important for people to think of, because if you're out there and you're watching this and you're struggling, and maybe this is an answer for you. So on that topic, Brett, I know that you do a lot of workshops, right? Don't you do like webinars and stuff like that? So if someone's interested in learning more about all of these different topics, because we're already almost at 30 minutes of the show, believe it or not, we have about a couple minutes left, give or take. But how can someone connect with you to get more information on either Get Staffed Up or one of your workshops where you're training people on these things?
Yeah. So just pretty simply, getstaffedup.com, right? So everything's on our website. The next webinar that we have, free, please join us. These are, again, our marketing is geared towards lawyers and law firms and service business owners. But, I think most of the concepts apply to anybody. And we're so happy to sort of give back and just have people learn from us. We have so many free resources on our website about delegation and how to, onboard and train and how to utilize other people to help make your business better. Because that's a question like, what do I get? What do I delegate? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Right?
I have somebody, but now what do I do?
You haven't spent time really thinking through what you need to delegate. It's really not that hard. So, but we have tons of free resources on the website to help people. And of course, there's a contact us now button. So if you're ever interested or have a direct question for me, please add me on LinkedIn and send me a message, or just go to our website and do the contact us.
Yeah. They're very responsive, I will say. And it's just been such a joy working with your team over, gosh, I guess it's been like a year and a half. And I had some, and I will tell you, it was a little like, oh, is this really the right move for me? But when I made that first hire with you all, but she's phenomenal, and really it has really helped me do a better job in so many ways in my business. We've since hired another person from you all, and it's just, she's doing phenomenal. And so I'm really grateful that you all thought saw this problem and you sought out
Yeah.
how to solve it and help other people in a multitude of ways, right? So you're helping the businesses, you're helping the people that are receiving the jobs. I mean, it's just kind of a full circle situation.
Absolutely.
So so I think it's been amazing. So all right, so as we wrap up the show, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, well, I mean, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention the Dolphins game yesterday.
Can we talk about
6
that?
touchdown passes. My guy Tua just he they made it happen. It's such a fun team to watch right now with the dynamic duo at receiver.
Oh
And
my.
wow, what a game, what a win.
I was like almost, I'm not even going to lie. This is going to be shameful. I'm about to sound like a shameful Dolphins fan. It was like the fourth quarter, things were not looking good. And I was like, okay, maybe I can, go sneak in a nap or whatever. And I'm so glad I didn't. And I'm so ashamed I even had that thought. But that was just, that was super, super thrilling.
That was one for the ages. And if I could give one plug today,
please.
One of my good friends and clients, the owner of South Florals, another local
South Florals,
another local community business. They have officially licensed Tua Lays.
No way.
So if you go to either the tuafoundation.org or to South Florals, then you can show up to the next game with a beautiful custom made lay, and we can have all of the stadium filled with Tua lays.
That
really
is
cool.
super cool. Okay, we need to do a whole nother thing just to make that part happen, because that is super, super cool. And do the proceeds go to the Tua Foundation?
Yes,
or is it...
well, of course. I mean, it's a business, right? South Florals,
but,
right. We got them a deal with Tua's family, and then a portion of the proceeds do go to benefit the Tua Foundation. So it's really just a cool program.
And they had that event that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Earlier this year with the Tua Foundation, what was it? Lua with Tua, something like that. And they gave back to the Boys and Girls Club. And it was, phenomenal. Phenomenal. So thank you, Tua, for all you're doing for football, but also in the community. South Florals, go check them out, right? South Florals?
South
Go
Florals.
check them out. Get your lays. Bring them out to the game. Let's support that team. Go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins.
Go
Absolutely.
Dolphins. And all right, anything that was super cool. Anything else?
That's it. Thank
you have so many
much.
things. I almost don't want to let you go because you have so many things to share. You're so awesome.
Thanks for having me on today, Misty. This is super fun.
Yeah, no, thanks for taking the time. And we will see you next week. We have another awesome guest coming on. Stay tuned for that. Any questions, you guys know how to reach us. If you want to be a guest on the show or you have topics in mind, please just reach out and let us know. And with that, make it a good one and go Dolphins.